Now here I have my Mk2 Fabia. Now it's got a bit of a problem with the electric window switches. It may not do it at the moment, but just sometimes when you press down, it doesn't go quite down as much as I'd like. Anyway, basically what I think is wrong is there's an electrical problem with the contacts in the switch. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to show myself because I've done this before, how to repair this, and hopefully we'll be able to repair this without buying a new switch. And yeah, basically the problem is you press down and it just sort of goes up or something ridiculous like that. I'm pretty certain it is the switches because it also occurs with the passenger side window, and if you actually actuate it with the switch on the passenger side, it works absolutely fine. Now, I'm just going to cut, and we need to first of all take this bit of trim off. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to remove this trim panel here. This trim panel enables you to get to the switch to remove it. So I use tyre levers on the interior of cars to take door cards off and that sort of thing, because they don't scratch the paintwork or even indeed the plastic, because that's what they're designed to do. You can get special tools for this, but I don't really feel the need for that. So I just put the tyre lever in there, and then you just simply pry this off with care. You can see that just unclips. So the next thing we need to do is to get inside here and unclip this mechanism. Okay, now I have the proper tool to remove the switch, which is a small flat-headed screwdriver. Now you insert the screwdriver into this hole here, and what you want to do is you want to sort of lever up. There are two little catches here which you need to unhook, and it's all quite squidgy in here. You can see I'm levering it up at the back there, and come onto the front just very gently. Don't force anything here. You've got all the time in the world really to do this. It doesn't take very long, and it's quite, to be honest, it's quite cheap plastic. So that's levered the back up, so you pull that up, and then you get the screwdriver and place it into this hole, and do the same at the back here. And this is the approved Volkswagen way of doing it. Or should I say Škoda? And there we are. That has very simply, in two extremely easy steps, remove the switch. So turn the ignition off so as to not confuse the computer, and just squeeze this little tab in here and pull the switch out. So there we have it. There is the switch removed. That might be the problem, made in Italy, but not really. And what we're now going to do is, you can actually see the mechanism. You just need to push these tabs in here to remove it. I've slightly butchered that with the screwdriver, but it doesn't really matter because you can't see that and it doesn't do anything. It's just part of the moulding structure. But yes, with the screwdriver you want to press these down, that one, and then this, you just simply sort of push it back slightly and out. So, you see I've only perhaps very slightly marked that. That's all off. Got the switch out. Now we'll go inside and have a look at how to repair this switch. Okay, so here we have, out of the car, we have the switch unit, and you can see it's a generic Volkswagen Group part. It's made by some company in Italy, and it's quite badly made. Now you can see it's actually quite interesting because there are actually two parts to it. There is this outer housing, which is the Škoda part number 5J0867171B, and that's one separate moulding. And then there's the switchgear, which does not have a part number, so you would not be able to buy just the switchgear, but it is made by the supplier to Volkswagen Group as a separate component, So it's quite interesting that. I suspect this is in fact made in house by Škoda, because it says marked made in the Czech Republic. Whereas this is obviously made by this company, which are presumably specialists in switches. Well, I say that it's never really worked very well, the switch. Now, it may not, of course, be this switch that's the problem. And as you saw in the video, it was working perfectly all right. But it's, to be honest, worth doing this anyway, because it is a free repair. A little bit of time, yes, but extremely straightforward. Now, what I'm going to do is release these 4 latches here. So 4 latches, 2 on either side, and that will remove this unit. I've already started on it here. What you simply do is sort of just lever it out. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I've slightly damaged it. This housing is really bad quality. It's just straight polypropylene, I believe. It's just a really bad quality mould, but it does the job. It doesn't really need to be particularly good quality. I've left the bottom out, so I'm just simply going to... There is no good way of doing this. It is designed to go in and not come out, which is fair enough. But yeah, I'm just simply going to stick my screwdriver in here, and you can see that just comes out like that, and it's gone stuck in at the bottom again. So you just sort of have to apply pressure all the way around. It's not terribly good, this, really. It's not really designed to come apart, but it does come apart, and it will go back together again. It's so soft as plastic that you can sort of push it back in. I'll probably hold it in place with just a dab of super glue. Now this reveals a second part, and again it's serviceable, which is good. You can take the switch gear off. But that is not anything that we actually need to do. You can take the switch gear off, but that then actuates these little plastic bits. What I'll do is I'll take one piece of switch gear off and show you what's inside. Okay, so I've taken one switch off. Now these are 2 stage switches. So if you do one click like that, it will just move the window up to wherever you specify. But if you do 2 clicks, it then does a one touch all the way up or all the way down, depending on which direction you press it in. You can see there's a tiny little lead at the bottom there, and these little plastic dimples which have 2 detents on them. Right, I've levered out that brown piece in much the same method as the other part. Again, this is glass reinforced plastic, so it's much tougher, so that shouldn't break. And you can see that there is a simple little rocker mechanism here, which is got the first detent and the second detent actuated by these 2 pins here. And what we're going to do is clean this up, because that then interfaces with this printed circuit board. It's quite nicely designed. It's got a little pin here, so you can only put it in one way round. There's the lead little resistor matrix here, just to drive things now, I presume. Okay, so what I noticed was there was some very small but still significant amount of corrosion on this printed circuit board. So I used some Servicel Super 10, which is a switch cleaning lubricant, on the end of a cotton bud, and just went very carefully over the PCB very lightly, and that's taken off all the corrosion that's built up. I believe what's happened is the window's been left down, or been down at some point, and let in some water that's corroded away the metal and deposited on the PCB here. So I've just gone over again very carefully all this metal work on both sides, just to take out the corrosion, because I think what could happen is, because it's going through this resistor matrix to tell the ECU whether it wants to go up all the way or just as far as you press the switch, there are two positions, and it's confusing the computer if there's an extra bit of resistance. Although it's probably still making a connection, resistance may be too high, and therefore it just completely confused it, and it does all sorts of weird things. It will go up and then down again, and you're holding the button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these to air dry and just go over them again very, very, very gently with the end of this small screwdriver, just to pull off any corrosion. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some silicone grease, a very, very, very small amount. I'm going to dab onto the contact points, incredibly small amount, just like a wafer thin coating, just to protect against any corrosion. Now that may of course increase the resistance too much, and it may not work, but I suspect it will actually mean that there'll be less wear as well on these contacts, and it should last properly and also waterproof it so it won't corrode again. So I'm just going to finish cleaning it, put it back together, and we'll test it out in the car. Okay, so what I've done is I've put a small smearing of silicone grease on here. Really, it's a very light coating. Don't put too much on, even that may be too much. And I'm going to put that into the switch gear. Oh, that's good. This all goes back together quite straightforward. You can't put it the wrong way around because it's all keyed. It's very nice. There's a key there that interfaces in there. But do make sure this is very clean when you put it back together. That's important. And these are very delicate as well, so be careful with them. Right, I'm going to stop filming and put this back together. Okay, so here we are back in the car. You can see this is slightly damaged where I've pulled it apart, but it does all just press back together. And just to confirm that when you do put it back together, the detents are working correctly. I don't think that would work if it wasn't put back together correctly. Then obviously, simple matter of connecting the wiring harness. Now, interestingly, this doesn't appear to be waterproofed. So that may have been the problem. That clips in. Then, making sure the wires aren't horrendously tangled, you put this front face in first. That, and then press smartly downwards. Alright, this is how you put the handle on. You put these two bits at the top in first. It's quite difficult to do one-handed, but that then slips in, and then try and line everything else up as much as possible. And then that's popped back together, and we'll give it a go. Put the key in the ignition, and obviously it did work fine beforehand, but hopefully it won't play up, because it was quite embarrassing. You'd go and roll the window down for a friend, say hello to someone, it wouldn't roll down, you'd look like a complete idiot. And that is working correctly. So job well done. Now obviously your experience may vary here. You have more corrosion, and this is only a 3-year-old car. So if your car's older than this, it may be significantly more corroded than this. So that's probably something that you'll get more obvious results in an older car, but it's something to try before buying a new switch, because if you break it, your switch was already broken before, and you'll only have to go and buy a new one. If you don't break it, well, you've actually mended something, you've saved yourself a few quid. Now obviously if you do break it, you know how to get the new one in as well. The instructions are obviously applicable to putting a new switch in, and I don't believe the new part is terribly expensive. I also think that probably with that small amount of silicon, which you see doesn't affect its operation at all, that may actually make this slightly more reliable. It may be a step that in the factory they, for whatever reason, don't put in. It may be detrimental, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the perfect thing to do, but I would suggest that this has actually probably improved the build quality of the switch, and it certainly feels very smooth and it's operating correctly. So thanks for watching.